Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the 6th grade concept of equivalent fractions, decimals, and percents. This is standard 6.4G in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 10 off the 2018 released STAAR test. If you have not done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and then we will look at our answers together. So it seems like a fairly simple problem. We have a waiter that earns a 17% tip. That's a pretty decent tip. What decimal is equivalent? So we just need to change our percent into a decimal. So that's a fairly simple process. When we are changing a percent to a decimal, it is a one-step process. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the decimal points. I'll put a little point right there. 2 times to the left. So when we're moving from a percent to decimal, 2 times left. When we're going from a decimal to percent, it's 2 times to the right. We're always changing 2 times. It just depends on which we're starting with, and what we're ending with is where we go left to right. So let's look at our 17%. So our 17% does not have a decimal. I'm going to take the percentage off. I'm just going to leave 17. When we don't have a decimal to move, it's not like 17.8 or 1.7 or anything like that. You always put it after the ones place. So that's going to be the key right there. Any decimal, if it's not there in a number, if it's just a whole number, always goes after the ones place. So we're going to start right there. And we're going to move it over once. We're going to move it over twice. And here we go. We've got a 0.17. And we're going to put a 0 in front of it, just to make it look a little bit cleaner. And then there's your 17. So 0.17 is 17 hundredths. That is the same as 17%. Now, how are they equal? Well, remember, 100% means everything, right? If you get 100% on your test, you get everything correct. If you get 100% of something out of a bag, that means you get everything out of the bag. So that equals 1. Because if you move the decimal twice, once, twice, you're going to get 1.00. So 0.17 is going to equal 17% because 0.17 is less than 1 whole and 17 is less than 100%. So that's why those two are equal. Now, the problem with this particular item on the STAAR test is that there were no A, B, C, or D to choose from. We had to answer and then fill in our bubbles on the answer document. So we could do all of this correct and still get it wrong because it all depends on how we bubble in that bubble sheet. So let's take a look to see what we would get on our answer document. Now on the 6th grade answer document, it looks like this. You've got a decimal. There's no bubbles underneath the decimal. You've got 2 places after the decimal. And then you've got 4 places to the left of the decimal. None of them are labeled. And then you have your bubbles underneath. So what you need to do is you need to know what each of these places are because they're not labeled. So here's my decimal, which means this is my ones, this is my tens, this is my hundreds, and then I've got my thousands if we need it, but we don't really need it. And this is going to be my tenths. And then this is going to be my hundredths. I'm just going to write HTHS because I'm running out of room there. So where does this fit right here? Well, this is going to be something very important for us to look at right here. We've got the 0.17. Let's anchor everything around that decimal spot. So there's 2 different ways that you could have written this. You could have written 0.17, and that would have been correct. Or if you wanted to, you could have just left that 0 off. It's nice to leave the 0 in the ones place, but it's not necessarily required. So you could have just put 0.17. And then all we have to do is underneath, make sure that we find the bubbles that have the numbers we're looking for. So our 0, 1, and our 7 is going to be down here. Remember, we do not have a bubble for the decimal spot. And we're going to bubble these in. Technically, the thousands place, the hundreds place, and the tens place are all zeros, but we don't put anything there. Though if you did put zeros up there, it wouldn't be incorrect. Just leave it like this.